Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Before we delve into all the technicalities, Chris, tell us how are organizations managing the complexities of application maintenance?
I think there's really four pieces to that's driving what organizations have to do to manage the complexities. I think the first is around experience or total experience, right? How are we meeting the users where they are, right? Every user experiences the service in different ways, right? Whether it's procurement manager that's worried about getting the best cost, whether it's an end user that's worried about how are they able to do their business every day, or whether it's a CEO that's worried about how are they generating revenue and growing the business. But they all have different ways that they consume the service. So for us, as we look at it, we're looking at that from one angle of complexity, right? I think the second complexity that we have to look at is what are we doing from a business observability, right? So how are we bringing IT telemetry and business metrics together to provide value back to the business and become less of a commodity and more of a value play?
Right.
I think the third piece is really around transformation, right? There's a lot that has to happen as people move to scale agile, or they move to DevOps, whether we're transforming the operating model and driving better outcomes, and that's a whole complexity into itself. And I think the fourth thing is around efficiency, right? Everyone's looking for cost takeout, everyone's looking for the lowest cost. And so driving those best practices and driving those automation, incident reduction, reducing mean time to resolve are all part of the efficiency piece that bring it. So those four pillars across experience, business observability, transformation, and efficiency are how we bring it together to help manage the complexity of the app management environment.
Yeah, you talked about experience here. What about employee experience, customer experience, and the entire total experience? Let's bring that in. What are your thoughts on that? What is HCLTech doing around it?
So I think when we're looking at our app management space and how we're helping our customers, we have to take both into account, right? Our customers are important.
Yeah.
And if we impact systems in a negative way, that has an impact on their end customers. So we have to make sure that we understand the business process. We understand what the impact is on if a system's down, if the user isn't able to get to the system that they need. Ultimately, that impacts their customer experience in their vision and their experience back with our clients. So by understanding that end-to-end business process and bringing business observability, we're able to have that total experience, right? So looking at it from the customer side, the employee side, and understanding that everybody's consuming that in different ways.
Yes.
And mapping that back to the overall support. So that's how we take a look at it. We recently produced a report on total experience. I think that's an interesting read. It gives some more insight into it in terms of our thought process and what's happening in that space as well.
So in managing large-scale application, how do you maintain cost optimization while ensuring the UX is not compromised?
Yeah, I think for us, what we've done is we have an industrialization function, right? The industrialization group is partnering with all of our accounts to drive cost optimization, to drive efficiency, to drive best practices, and make sure we're on our green path, right? So stay green, start green is important to us. And so that industrialization team takes a look at everything that HCLTech is doing, right, against all of our customers and saying, what are our best practices, and making sure that that's getting delivered and we're making those changes along the way. An example, we have a experience and efficiency partner that works with each of the accounts.
Okay.
They understand what was the business case that was important to the customer for that particular engagement. What are the objectives of that, whether it was incident reduction, mean time to resolve, operating model transformation, and they're partnering with that account and with that customer to say, how do we help you along the journey with the end state in mind, and also looking at the user experience and how that's impacting the end state and driving that with the team. Now, what's important about that team is that they're seeing across all the engagements, right? So they see multiple customers, multiple engagements. So they're able to bring those learnings for each of the clients and help elevate the service and meet those business cases, which are ultimately important on why we're driving cost efficiencies. And so the industrialization team is who helps with that. We think it's important. We think it's a critical part to our application management service. And it's something we think is going to ultimately differentiate how we drive the business results for our clients.
Tell us, what role does AI and automation play in balancing the incident management?
So automation is critical to incident management as well as AI, right? Automation has been around for a long time in the IT management landscape, right? You go, years back, you had scripts that ran automation on the mainframe, and then we got into sort of this RPA with, different tools that help do automation from a more advanced perspective. And now we're getting to AI, where it's making more decisions on its own based on past history. And so there's this need to continue to advance the way that we use automation to drive next best action, to get to the point where AI is actually taking the action to resolve the issue, which ultimately reduces the amount of effort we have to put into it, which is a cost issue. I think that for us, we're at that crossing point where AI is starting to accelerate the transformation of organizations, because the confidence level in what can happen when you bring in the right tools, you bring in the right frameworks, you put the right information into those AI engines, then it's making the decisions and helping drive the next best action, which ultimately helps you get faster instant resolution and reduce cost, right? That's really what we're trying to do. And for us, automation and AI are part and parcel, the core to what we have to do. But it's also a balance on what's the responsible use of those tools, right? You can't take it too far, because if you go too far and you haven't set up all the right controls, you don't have the right process in place, you could create more harm than good, right? So it's all about responsible use of AI, but still absolutely has to be done in order to manage the operations efficiently and effectively.
Any closing thoughts, Chris?
I think in general, I'm super excited about being back. It's, was a great journey the first 9 years. I'm really excited about what's to come. A lot of great people that I get to work with again, and I think we've got a bright future. I think there's some amazing stuff we're working on, and I can't wait to see what the team comes up with and how we continue to help enhance our customers' application space, and what AI is going to do for us as well. It's an exciting journey ahead for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.